And we're going to be on page 169 in grammar. 169. We're getting close, you guys. This week and then next week, and then the grammar's done. By the way, and then we only have 3 weeks after today. 3 more classes after today, and then my class is done. I don't know if you have other stuff you're still working on, but it's getting really close to the end of the school year. So, okay, we're going to look at page 169 here. This is review again about verbs. And there's basically 3 categories of verbs. We have the action verb that shows action or ownership. Most of the time it's an action. And that's what they do, obviously. And then we have the linking verb. It links the subject to a noun or an adjective. And then the helping verb helps an action verb or a linking verb. So obviously the helping verb helps another verb. That's how you know the difference. So a linking verb isn't going to have another verb near it, but the helping verb does. So let's look at this one. It says circle the correct answers. Each statement has 2 correct answers. An action verb. So we've got choices here, A, B, C, D. All right, how about we just do like thumbs up and thumbs down in the camera. So if you think is an action verb, can it be a strong verb? Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. If you think it can, give thumbs up. Yep, you're right. It can be an action verb or a strong verb, I mean. There's 2 answers here. B is always followed by another verb. Is that true for an action verb? Is it always followed by another verb? Thumbs up or down? Right, it is not. And if you don't know, I'm okay with a sideways thumb too, because sometimes it's like, I'm not sure. That's okay too. C is always follows a helping verb. Does an action verb always follow a helping verb? What do you think? Thumbs down. So you're going to give me a thumbs up if you agree with it, or thumbs down if you don't think that's it. And then the last one, always expresses ownership or action. And that's what it says up here. Shows ownership or action. So does an action verb show ownership or action? Yes, thumbs up on that one. Good. D. A linking verb can be followed by, remember linking verb up here says links the subject to a noun or adjective. So a linking verb can be followed by an action verb. Does that mean, that means like, can an action verb come after a linking verb? Thumbs up or thumbs down? What do you guys think? Sideways, she's not sure. Was that a down? That's right. It's a linking verb does not have an action verb near it because remember, linking verbs, they link subject to noun or adjective. That's what they do. So it's not going to be A. How about a linking verb can be followed by another linking verb? Do you think that's true? I see a thumbs up. What do you think, Lucy? Can it be followed by another linking verb? You're not sure, kind of down. You're like, I don't know. No, 2 linking verbs usually are not together. Remember, linking is linking a noun to another noun or an adjective, like she was pretty. So she would be the subject, and was is linking it to the adjective pretty. So linking verbs only link to like other nouns or other adjectives, okay? So that kind of leaves us 2 choices here. Good morning, Grayson. Can you hear me okay? I see you.
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, we're on page 169. A linking verb can be followed by a noun. Yes, yes, it can. That's a thumbs up. And a linking verb can be followed by an adjective. Yes, it can, like she was pretty. Helping verbs. Now, these are the ones it says up here, helps an action verb or a linking verb. So it's going to have verbs around it for sure. A helping verb can be followed by an action verb. Can an action verb come after a helping verb? Thumbs up, yes. How about, can a helping verb be followed by a linking verb? Yes. Not by a noun or an adjective. Only action verb and linking verb. That's what comes after a helping verb. All right, then we got some examples on the bottom, and you guys got to decide. Following these rules on top here. So you're going to decide if it's L for linking or H for helping, and don't forget to look up here to check. Linking links the subject to a noun or an adjective. Helping helps an action verb or a linking verb. So what do you think? I'll start with Lucy. That is a fine shot. Do you think that is a helping or a linking verb is?
Linking?
Yes, good. It's linking. It's linking the subject that to shot. It's telling a fine shot. It's an adjective right there, a fine shot. How about that's the finest I have ever beheld? Do you think that's linking or helping, JC?
Helping?
It is helping. Good, because we have is a verb and beheld is a verb. So it's helping that other verb. Okay. How about this one for Grayson? Both archers would gladly compete at the next tournament. Do you think that's a helping verb or linking? The word would.
Linking?
It's actually going to be helping because it's going to help this one compete. So would and compete. When you have two verbs together or close to each other like that, it's going to be a helping verb. And then the last one, Lucy, both are skillful, helping or linking?
Helping?
It's actually a linking because there's no other verb, just are. There's no other verb. Skillful is an adjective, and both is basically the subject of the sentence. So that's what you have to remember. See how the helping ones have verb, 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 verb. Linkings don't have another verb near it. Just has the one verb. That's how you know. If there's another verb close by, it's going to be a helping verb. All right, let's move on to the practice page 171. And how about Grayson? Can you go ahead and read it for us today?
Then Robin Hood and his entire band howled with delight. After a moment, the stranger who silently watched them slowly.
Okay, good. And our vocabulary is howled. And in this context, it just means that they're having a great time. Because see how it says howled with delight? They're having fun. They're probably laughing and being loud and just having a good time. Okay. Different than a dog or a coyote howling. All right. Two articles. Go ahead and find those by yourself. And then can we fix than because it's bugging me? Than. What should it be, JC, instead of than?
T-H-E-N.
Yes, T-H-E-N. T-H-E-N. Then Robin Hood. Yes, thank you. That's usage. And then how about the 5 nouns, Lucy, when you're ready?
Robin Hood?
Good.
Is band one?
Band is one, yes.
Moment?
Yep, moment.
Stranger?
Yep. There's one more.
Is smiled? Or is that's a adjective?
Smiled would actually be a verb because it's what he's doing.
Yeah.
So, it has to do with this prepositional phrase right here with, and then this word.
Delight.
Delight. That's actually a noun because of the preposition with. In fact, we can underline that. That is one of the prepositional phrases. And remember the rule with a prepositional phrase, it starts with a preposition, ends on a noun. So that's how we know delight is a noun. We've got one pronoun. JC, where's that pronoun?
Who?
Not who. That's going to be the subject of the who clause, but it's not the pronoun.
Them.
There you go. Is that what you said was them? Or did you say who first?
I said who first.
Okay. I was like, I thought I heard who. Yep, them is the pronoun. Very good. And then the adjectives, Grayson. Where are the adjectives at?
Entire.
Yes. Whose band is it?
His.
Yeah, there you go. His. Those are the two adjectives, his and entire. They go with band. Good job. And then there's three adverbs, Lucy. Where are those?
Is slowly one?
Yep, that's one.
Is watched?
No, watched is going to be a verb. So not watched.
Silently?
Silently is one. And then there's one that tells when. It's not an
After?
Y adverb though. Which one?
After?
Not after. That's going to be a preposition. It's right here at the beginning, actually.
Then? The
Yeah.
then?
Then is considered an adverb because it's telling when. After tells when too, but because it's part of a prepositional phrase, after a moment, the stranger, that after a moment actually is the prepositional phrase after a moment. That makes it a preposition. So remember how sometimes we talk about some words are in more than one list? That's an example. Okay. And then the coordinating conjunction, JC?
And.
Good. And I gave away basically the other prepositional phrase, which is after a moment. So we have with delight and after a moment. Those are the two prepositional phrases. What about the who which clause, Grayson?
Who silently watched them.
Yes, good. Who silently watched them. W/W. And then for the main clauses, I think it'll help to get the verbs first, the subject verb pairs. So Lucy, what about the verbs? Where do you see those?
Smiled?
Oh,
Is smiled a verb?
yeah, smiled is.
Watched?
Yes.
Howled?
Yes, there you go. Those are the three. And then how about the subjects, JC, that go with those verbs?
Robin Hood.
Okay, Robin Hood, yes.
Who.
Who? And there's another one that goes with Robin Hood for howled.
Band.
Yes, because both Robin Hood and his band. And then let's see, so they're counting this as one pair, even though there's two subjects here. This is unusual for our book, but they're saying Robin Hood and band pair with howled. So that's one pair. Another pair is who and watched. And there's one more pair in here with smiled. Who was it that smiled?
Stranger.
There you go. Good. So those are the subject verb pairs. Okay, and now we're to the point of finding the main clauses. So main clauses, just to remind you guys, is a complete thought. It always has a subject and a verb pair. So it could have more than one subject, it could have more than one verb, but it has to have at least one pair within the main clause. So Grayson, what do you think the main clauses are?
Then would then Robin Hood be part of it?
That's a great question because sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. In this case, it is because it's talking about it's including the subject and the adverb that goes with the verb. So it's telling when on this one.
Then Robin Hood and his entire band howled
Keep going
with delight.
with delight. So it's all the way from then to delight. The reason why we're including, because sometimes it's tricky right here. I know JC and I have talked a lot about this, but sometimes it includes a prepositional phrase and sometimes it doesn't. In this one, it does because if we stopped at howled, then we wouldn't know if they were howling because they were angry or were they howling because they were scared. We have to have with delight in there because that's the complete thought. It's telling us why they're howling. So that's why that whole part is the main clause. And then what about the next main clause? One more main clause in here.
After a moment, the stranger who silently watched them slowly smiled.
So in this one, you're close, but it does not include the prepositional phrase in this one. So it's going to start with the stranger and go all the way to smiled. Don't worry, Grayson. Other students are struggling with this too. It's tough. It's really tough. So the reason why after a moment is not included is because it's not essential to the rest of the clause, but the who clause is essential. It's called embedded. It's embedded in the clause. So the stranger who silently watched them smiled slowly. So it's telling which stranger it was. So that means it's part of the main clause. But in this one, that word then, it is included because it's not a prepositional phrase and it's not an opener for the sentence, even though it's an adverb. This is not considered an opener. It's just telling what happened next. Okay. So that's why that's included in that main clause, because by itself it doesn't do anything by itself. It's just a word then. It's an adverb out there if it's not part of the main clause. Okay, so those are the two main clauses. Good job, you guys. Then we have two openers for Lucy. So it's not going to be adverb opener, even though that is an adverb. It's not part of the clause.
Is it a subject opener?
It is a subject opener. That's a number one. Good, because the subject came next or comes next. And since we have the end of a main clause here, we need to fix this. You probably noticed that. It does not need to be a comma. So let's take the comma out and put a period here. Because it's a new thought now, a new sentence starting with after a moment. So what kind of an opener is this one, Lucy?
Is this a prepositional?
Yeah, do you remember what number that is?
2.
Good. Two, prepositional. Good job. Those are the two openers. Indent, we know just to stick that in there, the paragraph symbol, that's to remind us to indent in that part of the story. 4 capitals, go ahead and find those. Okay. we got end marks we can do. We already got one in the middle and the one at the end. So there's one more comma rule. What do you think, JC? We already took care of one comma here. Do you think we need to take another one out or put one in?
Take one out.
Yes. Which one?
After them.
After this one, then?
Them.
Oh, after them. Oh, here? No, that one actually
Yeah.
stays because that goes around a who clause. That stays there because it's before and after the who clause. So that stays.
The one after stranger.
The one after stranger stays because that's part of the who clause. See how it's like right before the who clause and then right after the who clause. So whenever a who clause is in the middle of a main clause, it has to have commas around it. So not those. There's one more comma left.
The one after Robin Hood.
The one after Robin Hood. And that's
I didn't
because,
see that one at first.
oh, I know there's so much on there already, huh? That's because he's just listing two subjects here, Robin Hood and the band howled. So since it's only listing two things with a conjunction, we don't need a comma there. Yeah, this one was a little bit tricky. Any questions about this page? There's all these rules. I know it's a lot. It's a lot of rules, but you guys are getting better at this. It just takes a lot of practice. So good job. And we're getting close to the end of the book now. Okay. Let's put that aside for now. You guys finished up your report on a place this last week. That was a good one. And I think I haven't had a chance to grade everybody's yet, but I think I got everybody's in. I was just going to check really quick. Let's see. Want to make sure you guys got that turned in if you did it. So yeah, I'm missing a couple. That's okay. Try to get that done because we're going to move on to another lesson this week, a new one. So you don't want to get too far behind because then you have a lot of catching up to do. So we're going to skip a few lessons though. And the good news is this is the last paper you guys are going to write for me because we only, like I said earlier, we only have 3 weeks left of this class. So this is the last paper. We're going to take 3 weeks to write it. So I want you to open up your binder and where it says source text, I want you to skip a few all the way till you see week 21. And we're going to do week 21. This is a good one to end on. Week 21. And I think, I don't know how many pages there are. Let me see. It's called Oceania. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages. Oceania. Week 21. The rest of them, you can just actually leave it in your binder or you can move it to finished. Your parents might want you to do some of the lessons we skipped during the summer if they want to. They don't have to, but you know how your parents are. They don't want you to miss anything. And we're running out of time. We got as far as we could in the binder. So you guys can work on those other ones during the summertime. Okay, and you're also going to need either a big piece of white paper, or if you don't have any more of those left, you can use a small printer size paper. Or even a lined piece of paper if that's all you have. I'm going to use just a regular piece of printer paper if you have that. If you need to go get one, that's okay. But you need a piece of paper, whether it's one of these, a big one, or a lined one. And we're going to use some sources for your paper this week about Oceania. I think you're going to like it. This one's pretty interesting, but go ahead and let's set this up first. So fold your paper taco style first. Taco fold. And then you're going to fold it a third of the way over, so past the middle, and then the other one on top. You guys know how to do this. You've done a bunch of these now. Kind of nice using smaller paper now, actually, because it's a little easier to deal with. So once you fold it into thirds, go ahead and open it back up. So you should have 6 boxes, 1, 2, 3 on top, 1, 2, 3 on the bottom. Okay. This one is going to have A, B, and C on top. This is going to we're going to start with Roman numeral 2, which is the body paragraph. So this is going to eventually become a 5-paragraph essay, but we're just starting with the body paragraphs, okay? So this is going to be Roman numeral 2. So we'll start with that one, Roman numeral 2, and then let's just do 1 through 5, and 4 and 5 can be in parentheses, okay? Roman numeral 2, 1 through 5. Roman numeral 2, 1 through 5. And then you're fused. This is going to be 1 through 6, and we're not going to put any in parentheses. You're just going to need 6 here. Okay, and then in the box under C, let's go ahead and label this one possible topics. Have you guys ever heard of Oceania before? I think of Oceano. That's a beach that we have in California, Oceano. I've been there before, but this is different. This is Oceania. Have you guys heard of that before? Okay. Doesn't look like you guys have. That's okay. We're going to read about it first in the article that came in the binder and find out what it's about. And then from there, you guys are going to decide on your own what topics you're going to write about. So let's start by reading it so we know what Oceania is. And it does give a little map down here, and I'm going to show you a bigger version of this after we read it so you can see where it is in the world. It's actually a place. It's a region. So this is page 195. I'm just going to go ahead and read it. Unless anybody else feels like reading. Does anybody else feel like reading? You guys like to read? That's okay if you don't. That's okay. I'll read it. You guys can just follow along on yours. So Oceania is a vast region covering an area of over 3 million square miles. Huge, huge. Most of which is open ocean. It has been divided into 4 regions: Australasia, and then Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. They all have the ja at the end, if you notice that. From south to north, it is approximately 5,800 miles from Macquarie Island northwestward to Honolulu, Hawaii. At the far east corner of the island of Rapa Nui, also known as Easter Island. And I remember Easter Island when we talked about Captain Cook. Do you guys remember that? This is an area where he sailed, Captain Cook. Oceania consists of thousands and thousands of islands, thousands. As our knowledge of geography grows, these definitions can change. For example, New Zealand is now considered part of a microcontinent called Zealandia, but it is still part of Oceania. Over 40 million people live in Oceania. Some are descendants of original natives, but many are descended from the Europeans who came later. The islands were explored and colonized beginning in the 16th century. Some islands, such as the American part of the island of Samoa, remain territories of foreign nations. Others, like Fiji and Australia, have been granted their independence. Still others, such as French Polynesia, are slowly being given more freedom and over time will likely become independent. Oceania contains a wide range of cultures. Over 1,300 languages are spoken in Melanesia alone. That's a lot. That's 1,300 languages. I know one. Maybe some of you know more than one, but I can't imagine. That's a lot of languages. By far the largest and most populous country in Oceania is Australia. Sydney, the capital of the state of New South Wales, NSWs, is a thriving modern city of over 5 million. But parts of New Guinea, a large island just north of Australia, are home to primitive tribal groups that are almost never seen by outsiders due to the rugged, hard-to-reach terrain and the possibility of violence, even cannibalism. So these are like, if you've ever seen Pirates of the Caribbean, I think it's like the third one. I don't know. There's like 5 of them now, but I think it's the third one when he goes to Davy somebody's locker. Davy's locker? Davy, what is it called? You guys remember? Davy Jones. Davy Jones locker. Anyway, he goes on one of these islands and they're all native there and they paint their face, they put beads and stuff in their hair, and they're wearing like leather from animal skins. So that's the type of tribes we're talking about that live in some of these places. And cannibalism, it's crazy to think that still happens in the world. Not in the United States for sure, but you know what that means, right? Cannibalism. It means when a species eats its own kind. It happens in the animal kingdom, but this is referring to people eating other people. So gross and illegal, but it's happening in some of these remote tribes in these islands. So if you go visit them, be careful. Okay, Oceania was a hotly contested battleground during the Second World War, World War II. Japan's attack on Pearl Harbor on December 7th, 1941, catapulted America into conflict. Much of World War II between the Allies and Japan was then fought in what was called the Pacific Theater. That is, many crucial battles took place in Oceania, in the ocean, on ships. The Allied victory at the Battle of Midway Islands in 1942, followed by successes at Guadalcanal, the largest of the Solomon Islands, proved decisive in defeating the Japanese forces. Some of the most interesting accounts of life in Oceania come down to us from writers who lived there. Robert Louis Stevenson, who wrote Treasure Island, and James Michener, American author of Tales of the South Pacific, are 2 examples. We're on this page now. This is 197. Michener's book is based on his experiences as a lieutenant commander in the U.S. Navy on the jungle island of Espiritu, I think is how you say that, Santo during World War II. His fascinating stories of island life as an American serviceman won the Pulitzer Prize and were made into award-winning Broadway musical and the movie South Pacific. Travelers to Oceania enjoy its fabulous diversity because of Oceania's lush tropical climate and its physical isolation from the rest of the world. The life forms are abundant, varied, and unique. Plants, animals, and marine life exist in Oceania that can be found nowhere else. These endemic species include kangaroo, koala, duck-billed platypus, dingo, wombat, and the Tasmanian devil, named for the island of Tasmania. By the way, this is the Tasmania devil. It looks kind of cute, but they are vicious. Vicious, vicious animals. It looks like kind of a cross between a dog and a bear to me, a little bit. I mean, it looks like it could be yawning there, but it also could look like it's about ready to attack something. They don't call them devils for nothing. I'm just saying. Tasmanian devil. So anyway, if you ever watch any of those old cartoons from like the 1960s and 70s, there's a cartoon about a Tasmanian devil. But anyway, the versatile geography of Oceania ranges from towering peaks in New Zealand and Australia to the rise above sea level. One such island, Rapa Nui, also called Easter Island, is located 2,300 miles west of the South American nation of Chile. Ancient stone statues called Maui mutely stand guard on Rapa Nui. Carved between 1100 and 1500, those are years, by the original island dwellers. The largest weighs over 90 tons and stands 30 feet tall. They are believed to represent chiefs or family ancestors. And I don't know why when I read that paragraph, I think of Moana. I don't know if you guys have seen that. Yeah, she's on this island and there's statues and they always talk about ancestors and everything. So that's what it reminds me of. Those would be like natives to the island. Located just off the coast of Australia, the Great Barrier Reef is home to 600 species of coral, 30 species of whales, dolphins, almost done here, and over to the back, and porpoises, over 200 species of birds, and more than 1,500 species of fish. Large sections of the reef have died due to small increases in ocean temperatures. The Great Barrier Reef might no longer be able to sustain the vast numbers of fish that have always lived there. Oceania faces a severe environmental threat: plastic pollution. Henderson Island, an uninhabited island far from civilization, was founded in 2017 to have an estimated formerly pristine beach. Henderson's Island belongs to Great Britain, but the tons of plastic garbage identified by scientists came from countries around the world. It is a serious global problem that requires a cooperative global effort to keep beautiful Oceania from ecological destruction. And here's some of those statues on Easter Island. Interesting stuff. So plastic is a problem. We still have a lot of plastic in the world. You know, we have water bottles. A lot of packaging of our food is in plastic. I think, you know, there's always an ongoing effort to change that. I don't know if you guys ever noticed, like at the grocery store, when you buy produce, those bags have changed. I noticed that kind of recently, like in the last couple of months, because now they're kind of green and they feel different. They're biodegradable. So apparently they're better for the environment. So they're always working on stuff like that. to protect the environment and places like islands like these. So let me show you a picture online of the island on a map. Let me share that with you. So you can kind of see where it's at in relation to other places in the world. Okay, so this right here, Australia, the green one, that is a continent. We know that's an island. It's by itself out there, but it's pretty big. Up on the upper right-hand side of the map, this is the United States of America right here. Or actually, that's part of Mexico. So America is right above that. This is Mexico. So that's in relation to where America is. And then on this side, this is Asia. So if you have a globe at home, it's easier to see on a globe. It's basically the space between the United States and Asia. It's a huge piece of ocean. And in the middle of the ocean is all of these little tiny islands. And they've only named a few of them here. If I don't even know if it'll let me zoom in. Will it? Oh, kind of. Yeah. Basically, every single dot you see here is an island. I mean, more than what you see. They said like 10,000 islands. So it's crazy to think how many islands are out here. But these are in different sections of the region. This whole thing is called Oceania, but these are Polynesia. That's a region. Micronesia up here, this orangey colored one, pinkish colored one, that's a region. And then this darker blue, Melanesia, that's a region. And then New Zealand, notice, is here. That's a country. And then Australia. So all of this is part of Oceania. Okay, so now that we get an idea of what Oceania is, it's a place in the middle of the ocean. And we learned from this article some things about it. From here, you guys get to choose your subject for your paper this time, for the last paper that you write about. So your subject has to relate to Oceania. It has to be something about Oceania. So go back to your paper that we set up here, your outline. And on this box under A, let's put possible subjects. We have possible topics. That's going to be about the subject, but this is where you guys get to pick the subject. It can be anything related to Oceania. So some examples are the animals there. You could pick one of the animals. So you would pick one like a koala, or you would have to do some research to find out what animals live there. Kangaroo. You can think about animals that are in Australia or New Zealand. It did mention the platypus. It mentioned some other animals. So you could pick one animal, and I'm just going to put in parentheses here, one. You would pick one. That could be your subject. There's many battles that happened there. It talked about that in one of the paragraphs. Remember when Pearl Harbor happened, the attack on Pearl Harbor? Pearl Harbor is part of Hawaii, and the Japanese bombed it. You've probably heard about Pearl Harbor before, but it was a surprise attack. It was just wrong on so many levels. But because of that surprise attack on Hawaii, it triggered the Second World War. And that happened because Hawaii is part of Oceania. I meant to tell you that. Hawaii is part of it. So you would pick one of the battles, like Pearl Harbor, or one of the other battles it mentions in there. You can pick foods. The food could be a topic. I mean, not a topic, a subject. The food in Oceania. The Great Barrier. Make sure I'm spelling this right. ER. Reef. Oops, that's two E's, by the way. I kind of messed up there. The Great Barrier Reef, that's where the coral is underwater. It's where all the beautiful colors of rocks and formations underwater is. A lot of interesting creatures live in that, so that could be a subject for your paper. The people slash tribes in Oceania. Traditions. If you travel there, if that's something you're interested in, maybe the activities they have in Oceania. It's a very, very different place than anywhere else in the world because of so many small islands and different creatures that live on these islands. Okay, this gives you an idea. Now you're going to choose one of these. And if you already think you know what you want to pick, you can go ahead and circle one that you think, oh, that's kind of interesting. I'd like to learn more about that. Go ahead and choose one. Or if you think of others, if you think of any other ideas, um, they have, I'll just add snakes on here. I know we have animals, but the snakes are crazy there. If you like snakes and you're like, I want to learn about more about the snakes there in Oceania, you can pick that one. So if you don't know yet, that's okay. But if you do know, give me a thumbs up if you've picked one that stands out to you. Okay. I see JC got one. Do you have one yet, Grayson? You don't know yet? How about you, Lucy? Have you picked a subject yet?
I was thinking I would do Pearl Harbor.
Okay, Pearl Harbor. That's a good one. So what did you pick, JC?
I picked food.
Okay, awesome. That'll be a good one to write about because it's really different there. I think you're going to find some interesting things about it. Grayson, animals, maybe? You interested in the animals or the people?
I picked the New Zealand Gold Rush.
Oh, the New Zealand Gold Rush. Okay, I'll write this down so I can remember what you guys picked.
I don't know about that.
Grayson. I haven't heard, did it talk about that in the article? No? How do you know about the New Zealand Gold Rush? Have you heard of it before?
No, but I know that it's the water horses in the Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's what the gold rush is in New Zealand?
River. Tell her.
No, it was the gold rush on the river that the water horses ran
It's the
down.
second richest gold rush river behind the Klondike.
So are they seahorses, you said?
They're water horses.
Water horses. Ah.
They're not real. They're from the Lord of the Rings.
Yes, from the Lord of the Rings. And that was there. So yeah, you could choose that. That's an interesting one. From Lord of the Rings. Let me put that down. The Gold Rush, it was called. That's where the water horses were. Well, that would be interesting. Okay. And then JC, are you still going to stick with the food there in Oceania? Okay, food. And then Lucy picked the battle. Which battle did you pick again? For Lucy?
Sorry, my computer froze for a second.
Oh, okay. What battle did you pick again?
Oh, Pearl Harbor.
Oh yeah, Pearl Harbor. Perfect. Okay, cool. I'm glad you guys all picked different things because this is our last big paper. And so it'll be fun to share what you guys learn about in this. So after you circle your subject, start thinking about possible topics about those subjects. So for like Grayson, I've seen Lord of the Rings. I don't know enough about the characters and stuff in it. I saw it a long time ago and I'm not one of those super fans, but it sounds like you guys are, which is cool. So list some possible topics that have to do with that New Zealand gold rush you were talking about, like those horses and whatever you can think of that goes with that subject. Same for you, JC. If you don't know what foods yet, that's okay. You probably won't know your topics yet. You might have to do a little research to find out what foods they eat there, unless you know some of them. And remember, this includes New Zealand and Australia. So if you know any foods there, you can list some of those. And then Lucy, list what you know about Pearl Harbor, and you can use what we just read from that article. You can put like when it happened and maybe why it happened and what it caused, different parts about Pearl Harbor. Actually, it still is considered, it was weird. I went to Hawaii like early 90s and we saw Pearl Harbor. It was really interesting. There's still oil that's coming up from the ships that sank there. Pretty interesting stuff. And it was a little strange because it's a huge attraction for Japanese tourists. So a lot of this stuff was written in Japanese and the audio was all in Japanese and stuff. So it's really kind of strange to be in America. Um, that was such a tragic experience there. So anyway, as far as like when it happened. All right, so from here, I'm gonna have you guys do some research this week. And let me write down some of the websites that are good for you to use. By the way, I'll just show you, and you can write this down somewhere on your paper or not on the back because, well, actually, you could do it on the back on the bottom left because we're going to need the back for another outline. But on the bottom left side, under where we would have A, you could write it on there or a new piece of paper. I'm going to show you how you're going to search for this. Open up a new tab here for Google. Okay, let's start with Lucy's. So Pearl, you would type in Google Pearl Harbor facts for kids. It's really important for you guys to add for kids because that really helps protect your search. And by the way, whenever you're doing this on your own, make sure you check with your parents before you just go to Google and start searching stuff, okay? Check with them and say, that you need to do this project. Is now a good time to do it? And would you please sit down with me? Because you know your parents, if they want to be part of the searching, then make sure you make that time with them, okay? If they are okay with you searching by yourself, make sure that you check with them first and always put for kids. And the first one you're going to see here is National Geographic Kids. That is a safe site to go to. So I'm just going to click on this to show you what you're going to be finding out. And I'll do each of yours in a minute here. And this is a good site to use. It gives you a background of what happened at Pearl Harbor. This is also going to help you come up with some topics. So this week you're just starting with your first topic because I know it's going to take you some time to do your research and make your list. Your first topic I recommend for you, Lucy, would be the history of the attack on Pearl Harbor. Okay, that would be a good place to start. When you're scrolling through these articles like what I'm doing right now, I notice there's these little the subheadings like the plan. Scroll down here. The attack, the aftermath. These are good topics to choose too. All right, let me go back to my Google search and I'm going to practice one for Grayson. And you said yours was, let's see if it comes up, New Zealand. And you called it Gold Rush, right? See if it comes up here. I don't know if it will this way. How about we try this for yours? New Zealand Lord of the Rings for kids. We always want to make sure to put in for kids. This is a movie set tour. We don't want that. Lord of the Rings Lover's Guide to New Zealand. Well, I heard your dad in the background there. So I think it was your dad. Anyway, I heard somebody's voice back there. I recommend you sit down with whoever it is that knows about this stuff with Lord of the Rings, and they can help you find a good website to go to. You guys are going to need to have 3 websites for A, B, and C. Okay. So yours might be a little tricky, Grayson, but sit down with one of your parents and see if they can help you find something. You want to make sure that they get their help with that. And then for JC's, we can put food in Oceania or facts, something like that. There we go. Fijian cuisine facts for kids. Now, Fijian is Fiji, and that is part of the Oceania. So you're probably going to have to choose one of the countries or one of the islands to focus on for the food. This looks like a good one. I know kids Kiddle. This is a safe site to go to, Fijian cuisine. Kids Food Atlas. There you go. Australia for kids. Okay, so here's one that talks about the food in Australia. So here's a brief history for kids to learn about Australia. If ever you see a pop-up like this, don't subscribe. Most of the time it costs money, so just ignore that. Here we go, Australian food. So that's what you're going to have to do, JC, is kind of just with a parent, search for food in Oceania for kids. Make sure you add that. And then scroll through some of these sites. Okay, so you guys are going to pick one topic about your subject. Remember, that's the main thing you're talking about. So for food is your subject, but the topic could be food in Australia, food in New Zealand, food in Fiji. See what I mean? And then you just search for those specific things, and you're going to use 3 sources. Okay. And you're going to fill out A, B, and C with your topic here, fuse them together, and write 1 paragraph. We're just focusing on 1 paragraph this week because I know it's going to take a while to figure out what you're writing about, but it has to be related to Oceania. Do you guys have any questions about this assignment? Do you have a question, Grayson? No? Don't forget your checklist. I know we're running out of time here, but it is new because we skipped a couple lessons, remember? So we've got all your dress ups on here, but you also have the added VSS. I don't think that was on there last time. Maybe it was, but the VSS, you guys remember, is a very short sentence. So it's pretty easy. 2 to 5 words is what that is. Everything else is pretty much the same. You're only going to focus on 1 paragraph. It's actually going to be paragraph 2 because we're saving paragraph 1 for the introduction. Okay. So you'll use the second column this week for your paragraph 2. All right. Hopefully you'll have fun with it. Now, if you have any pressing questions, like you're in the middle of doing your homework and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I need to do. I need help like right now. Ask your parent to text me because I respond a lot faster to my cell, like if you text me, than I do on Google Classroom. So if it's an urgent question, they can text me. It's okay. All right, you guys, that's it for today. Have a great week. And Lucy, I'll hang on with you for a second. Bye, Grayson. Bye, JC.